When we give Americans more control over their own money, the economy thrives. When we disrespect the taxpayer and waste their hard-earned money, the economy suffers.
Because it was way too confusing and way too complicated. And you know, if the IRS is holding off on a law, it's got to be bad because they do want your taxes. My bill will return the 1099-K reporting requirement to the time-tested $20,000 or 200 separate transactions from the Democrats' disastrous budget gimmick, which lowered the threshold to $600. This common sense bill will protect American paychecks, and I look forward to delivering real results to the American people. Thank you so much for being here today.
The next Congresswoman Diana Harshberger from Tennessee. She is the leader on H.R. 2556, the Simplify, Don't Amplify the IRS Act. Congresswoman?
Well, it's a windy day, but that's okay. Listen, I have been protecting the American taxpayer from government overreach ever since I was elected to Congress, and I was proud to support the first bill the new Republican majority passed, which repealed President Biden's effort to supersize the IRS by adding 87,000 new agents, and that painted a target on the back of every American taxpayer. That's why I'm honored to join Senator Braun in leading on this crucial issue by introducing in the House the Simplify, Don't Amplify the IRS Act in the House, which will enshrine key taxpayer protections into law. This legislation will protect groups and their financial supporters from IRS overreach regardless of their political affiliation or beliefs. Our bill will also increase the penalty for and make it easier to terminate IRS employees who release private taxpayer information. That's important. Finally, our bill will put an end to the persecution of taxpayers by barring the IRS from targeted audits and investigations. The Simplify, Don't Amplify the IRS Act is a win for taxpayers, business owners, and hardworking Americans. The Biden administration is weaponizing federal agencies against the American people, and it's more important than ever for Congress to take action on this crucial and urgent matter. Our bill is an opportunity to rein in the worst abuses of one of the most dreaded three-letter agencies in the federal government, that's the IRS. And under the Biden administration, if you don't remember anything, remember this. The IRS spells theirs, T-H-E-I-R-S, and that's exactly what they want. They've got to pay for some of these bloated legislative wins that they've gotten, and that's how they're going to do it, on the back of the taxpayers. So it's been a privilege and honor, and we're going to keep fighting for those people who keep our country going. Thank you.
Congresswoman, thank you for your leadership. Next joining us is Isabel Morales with Federal Affairs and Americans for Tax Reform.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isabel Morales. I'm a Federal Affairs Manager at Americans for Tax Reform, and I'm here to briefly touch on the IRS's ongoing failure to complete a tax complexity report that was mandated by Congress. The IRS Restructuring and Reform Act of 1998, along with other IRS reforms, required that the IRS complete a tax complexity report every year. As stated in the law, the report shall include any recommendations, A, for reducing the complexity of the administration of federal tax laws, and B, for repeal or modification of any provision the Commissioner believes adds undue and unnecessary complexity to the administration of federal tax laws. The IRS has only completed this report twice, in 2002 and 2000. Now it's been over 20 years since the IRS complied with this mandate from Congress. As with many things, the IRS blamed this failure on a lack of manpower and funding by saying that this task would require the labor of a whopping 2 employees working through the year. Personally, I would be more sympathetic to this excuse if it wasn't the case that Treasury employees, 80% of which work for the IRS, spent over 350,000 hours on taxpayer-funded union time. while on the job. That's the equivalent of 170 employees working on union activities full-time. So, evidently the IRS has the means to complete this report. This is, of course, just one example of a larger theme. When given the opportunity and the legal mandate to find better ways to be better stewards of taxpayer dollars, the IRS doesn't take that opportunity. Because if the IRS were to actually seek out ways to run more efficiently, they wouldn't keep getting away with blaming all of their failures on a lack of funding, and they wouldn't get to keep coming to Congress asking for more and more money every year. And while this dynamic seems so transparent to most of us, the left still wants to give the IRS more money and more power. The Inflation Reduction Act, for example, gave the IRS $80 billion in new funding for the hiring of 87,000 new agency employees, not to fulfill their most basic duties, like completing the tax complexity report, but to extract more money from already struggling working families and small businesses. And apparently, $80 billion wasn't enough, because in President Biden's proposed budget this year included $43.2 billion in additional IRS funding. The left also, as I said, wants to expand the powers of the IRS. What's especially relevant, especially today, is that Democrats have been pushing for government-run tax preparation, empowering the IRS to act as tax preparer, collector, and auditor, creating a very blatant conflict of interest and serious privacy concerns, of course. But what a task to take on when you can't find 2 employees to produce an annual report to improve your agency's performance. So we call on the IRS to resume the creation of this report, and when that doesn't happen, we hope congressional Republicans will hold them responsible for their failures. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. Vance Ginn, Senior Fellow with Americans for Tax Reform, on the recent spending spree.
It's often said that we don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem, and that's true. But also here on Tax Day, we have a tax problem. What we really need is for free market capitalism, which is the best path to let people prosper, to be able to flourish again, for people to get jobs, not have to have higher wages so they could pay for the higher inflation that's come out of the Biden administration. And it's just one thing after another. The latest account of this was the Inflation Reduction Act, which does no such thing. It continues to raise inflation, raises the debt, and the latest estimates on this show that it'll be about 4 times higher than what the CBO reported just last year. And a lot of this has to do with the tax credits for electric vehicle batteries, which are going to cost nearly $200 billion plus over time. This is another way that they're infiltrating the overall size of the government through our economy, throughout our lives. And fortunately, we have another way that we should go that's led by a lot of states that are leading the sustainable state budgets across the nation that they should look at by spending less, finding ways to provide tax relief and regulatory reform. America can be the free market capitalism place that will allow to let people prosper. Thank you.
And last speaker is Patrick Gleason, Vice President of State Affairs, talking about the exciting things happening at the state level.
Yeah, well, I get to end with some good news for everybody. So we've heard a lot today about all the tax hikes and anti-growth policies coming out of the Biden administration, or have already been enacted and are being supported by congressional Democrats. And while those are certainly worthy of denunciation for many of the reasons you've heard about today, the good news is in state capitals across the country, taxpayers have reason for celebration. Many in this building who work in this building behind me might not know it, and many in the national media might not know it, but we're currently in the midst of what is considered a golden era of state tax relief. In fact, the last decade feature of it has been what many have dubbed the flat tax revolution. If you look at just the last 3 years alone, since 2020, we've seen more than 40 states enact some form of state tax relief. Of those states, more than 20 have enacted some form of significant state top marginal income tax rate reduction. If you look at just the past last 5 years, we've seen the club of no income tax states grow considerably by about 15%. As recently as 5 years ago, we had 7 no income tax states. Tennessee phased out their investment income tax in 2021, bringing us to 8 no income tax states. And then New Hampshire enacted legislation phasing out their investment income tax, which will bring us to 9 no income tax states when that phase out is complete in a few years. In fact, there's legislation pending now in New Hampshire that may speed up that phase out, getting us to 9 no income tax states even sooner. So we've gone from 7 to 9 no income tax states in just a few years. We have a collection of states where governors and state legislators are jockeying to become no income tax state number 10. Many of those states jockeying to become no income tax states have first taken a step to become a flat tax state. In fact, in the last half decade, we've seen more states enact flat taxes than all of preceding history prior to that point. We've gone from 9 to 14 states with flat taxes. When you look at the states with a flat tax of 0, no income tax, or a flat tax above 0, we're now at almost half the country that either has a 0 income tax or a flat tax rate. This is really significant progress in just a few years we've seen. This is really good news. You look at the numbers. As recently as 13 years ago, in 2010, the year that Republicans swept control in many state capitals, the median top state income tax rate was 6%. Because of the success we've had in bringing down state tax rates that I mentioned over the past decade, that median top state income tax rate has come down from 6 to 5% today, and it's scheduled to go down further to 4.9%. Thanks to already codified state income tax rate reduction that's going to take effect in the coming years. And with all that progress, we have more pending state income tax rate reduction pending in state capitals right now. So we may see further progress before we even get to the summer. So the good news is, while we got a lot of challenges and threats we're dealing with at the federal level with anti-growth policies coming out of this administration and expiring provisions of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that need to be continued and made permanent, the good news is at the state level we're making a lot of progress. Pro-growth rate-reducing tax reform is advancing. In fact, the interest in it is not waning, it's growing. And so this golden age of state tax reform shows no signs of ending anytime soon. So that's the good news for me.
We'll close with 2 audiovisual aids here. One is, when you ask yourself, can the IRS actually spend $80 billion intelligently? The gentleman who ran the IRS for President Obama said, I'm not sure you'd be able to efficiently use that much money. That's a lot of money. So from one expert to all of us, and there's one other, when people are done trying to raise the income tax and realize you can't get any more blood out of that turnip, the advocates of bigger government and higher taxes want to turn to an energy tax. And here we have John Podesta, who ran the Hillary Clinton campaign, pointing out one of the challenges with adding an energy tax, which would turn into a VAT, and that's the simple problem. We've done extensive polling on a carbon tax. It all sucks. Thank you very much.
It seems so simple. Absolutely. Yeah, it was the RA. It was like 1990. I'm not part of my church over there.
I have to track the
Yeah, I live in
You'll see your coordinator recycle. Anything else you think You'll sit like a Word doc and yeah.
I'm going to pretend to be important for a minute. I want to pretend to be important. I'm just going to talk. Little hair.
Yeah, a little hair.
Just pretending to be at the podium.
All right, then.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
I can pretend I'm important.
What, you want me to do it? Yeah, then get in there. Man, you basically planned this event, so get in there. You know, I had a... Well, you know, taxes suck, so we agree with that, I think. What, are you kidding? You're doing a portrait?
I'd like to point out they didn't take any questions, so if you're asking like they're answering a question, then...
Fair enough, fair enough.
What do you think about abortion?
We're not getting into that. We're done.
Or no, take a photo first. Photo? Yeah. I think it's nice that everyone's like looking right now. That tree is very nice. I like the tree. I also really appreciate the light here. Jackson is my favorite. Jackson. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. I look terrible. Yeah, thank you, Jackson. That was a really good contribution of you. Yes. We should do that. Yeah. Okay, can you do a portrait? Yeah. You have to come closer. You have to come closer.
I'll show you. You gotta take charge. I'll show you.
My hair looks horrible.
So take your time, please.
No, it's okay.
Who are you?
That's why you gotta hit him with the the elbow. The elbow on it, you know? Oh, yeah. Oh, you want a picture of me on this podium? All right. Gotta hit him with the... I'm not giving you my phone.
I can take a picture.
Gotta hit him with the... No, I'm not giving you a Gotta hit him with the podium. The fat boy lead, you know, that's what we call it.
Wait, can you take one without the picture?
Or the... Oh, yeah.
With ATR or without? Both. I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, smile. Talk about how much you hate taxes.
Jackson, damn. I don't know. Well, I mean, there's a light over. Come on.
Let's go. Am I getting a photo? What's up?
Phone?
Yeah, no, I don't have a phone, Nelly. Nelly, I don't have a phone, Nelly. Screaming about taxes. I'm doing the Lennon. Yeah.
Sorry. Beware of how you pose when you're in front of the
Yeah, I was just...
Don't do the Lennon.
I don't know what to say or what to do. Taxes suck. I don't know what else to say. But yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Not right now.
I can't believe that my brother was the guy who did the Pentagon audit 20 years after the Pentagon was legally required to do an annual audit.
Hey, question. I had Adam take my photo. See the bad angle stuff. So we want to take a better one.
Yeah,
Maybe portrait mode, I don't know.
I got you.
Hold up. I'm taking one. Yes.
Patriotic Linus? Yeah.
Ow! I ripped my hair. The taxes are really bad. If you take the tax
taxes are this high, they should be this high. Taxes are this high right now, they need to be this high. Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Much better. Oh my God, much better. Jackie, you know you want some. You know you want
I'm just
some.
gonna look like crap.
Wait, no,
One
you're
second.
right.
One
Otherwise,
keep being afraid this pen doesn't go to the back. It's like keep being afraid I'm gonna
You're doing that too?
I was gonna take a
Will one of you take this from me?
Oh my God.
Is it you? Instead? Oh.
Do you want the ATR in there or no?
Yeah. Did you say why? I mean, you can cut it out too. I don't really care.
There you go. Get that hair.
The line of here is perfect.
That's good. I only need like 3.
I'm telling you,
Thank you.
you gotta do the taxes this high. You gotta get it to this high.
The
Can't you do it like this?
I was not watching right now.
Oh, really? I would get to do it.
I really thought I would too. Maybe I'll start watching it. I gotta make an HBO Max account for my I know.
Yeah, true. It's not wet. True. You're right.
Because you could always crop it out. Like
True.
Yes, that's true. They should count that as a country.
Yes. What did I want to say?
Absolutely. And yes, if you're talking to there's no difference of
Oh, bad idea.
Hi.
Introduce myself. I'm Alexa. I'm sure you have to run this. You don't have to do it now, but I was wondering if you could take your thoughts on it.
Yes, I'd love to. I do actually have to sort of run now. This is a chatting thing, not a filming thing?
A chatting thing.
Okay, let's,
Yes,
here's
I
this.
have to be like,
Where's John Karch? Did he escape?
Right there.
John, John runs across the queue and make sure. She wants to set up some time for us to talk. She get your card?
It is just fine.
Oh, you can go. We need to take a picture?
Yes, I was gonna do it right here.
Okay.
Interns.
I'm ready when you are. John is the guy who will make it happen.
Go. Photo, go. Right there by the thing.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Alexis, yeah.
You're not there.
Nice to meet you too. I'm good. How are you?
Let's angle this way so I can get the couch.